You never hear trust break. There is no thunder, no shattered glass. Just one conversation that feels different. One smile that lasts a little too long. One silence that suddenly becomes louder than every word before it. Looking back, I realize betrayal always knocked softly. I was simply too busy calling it friendship. We built everything together. Late nights, empty pockets, coffee gone cold before sunrise. We dreamed like brothers, we spoke about houses we one day own. Names we make impossible to ignore. Families we protect, children who would never know what it meant to struggle. Back then, success felt like something we would share, not something we would fight over. If one of us won, we all celebrated. At least, that's what I believed. Funny how people applaud your climb until you start reaching heights they secretly wanted for themselves. Trust has an expiry date. No one tells you when it ends, it simply disappears. The moment ambition becomes louder than loyalty, the hands that once pulled you forward begin quietly pushing you behind. And by the time you notice, you're already standing alone. You still call me brother, still laughed at my jokes, still pour my drink before his own. Nothing changed except everything. The conversations became shorter, the eye contact disappeared. Decisions were made before I entered the room. My name slowly vanished from discussions I helped begin. At first I blamed stress, then bad timing in myself. Anything except the truth, because the truth would have meant admitting the man I trusted most had already started walking away. There is a moment, just one, when your heart knows long before your mind accepts it. That feeling in your chest, that quiet voice whispering something isn't right. Ignore it long enough, and it becomes your greatest regret. One evening the room fell silent as I walked through the door. Not because they respected me, because they had already finished speaking about me. Smiles returned too quickly, glasses were raised. Someone changed the subject, another avoided my eyes. The air felt heavier than any words they could have spoken. I sat among familiar faces, yet I never felt more alone. That's when I understood sometimes betrayal doesn't begin with a knife. It begins with a conversation you were never meant to hear. The night they chose against me. No one tells you the loudest betrayal happens in a quiet room. No shouting, no broken glass, no warning. Just a decision made while your name isn't there to defend itself. By the time the truth reaches you, it has already become history. I remember the rain, not because it was heavy, but because it covered the sound of my footsteps as I walked toward the place we once called ours. The lights were still on, cars lined the street, laughter escaped through half-open windows. Everything looked ordinary, everything except the feeling in my chest. There are moments when your soul notices danger before your eyes ever do. that night. Mine begged me to turn around, I didn't, because hope has a terrible habit of believing it still belongs. I reached for the door, it wasn't locked, it never needed to be. The people inside had already locked me out in every way that mattered. Their voices stopped the second I entered. Silence has a way of introducing itself better than words ever could. Faces turn, some look surprised, some look guilty. One or two couldn't even meet my eyes. And then he smiled, not the smile of a brother, not the smile of a friend, the smile of a man who already knew he had won. He had won. You're early, that's all he said, as if time was the only thing out of place. I looked around the table, papers, contracts, my handwriting, my ideas, plans we had built together, now sitting in front of everyone except me. No one rushed to explain, no one stood up, no one said, this isn't what it looks like. Because sometimes it is exactly what it looks like. Someone cleared his throat, another stared into his glass. The room suddenly became interested in anything except the truth. I waited, not for answers, for someone, anyone, to remember who I had been to them. The man who stayed late after everyone else had gone home. The man who carried losses that belonged to all of us. The man who believed brotherhood meant something instead. Silence voted against me. I always thought betrayal would come wearing the face of an enemy. I never imagined it would borrow the voice of a friend. That was the night they chose against me. Not with bullets, not with blood, but with signatures, with silence, with eyes that looked away when mine searched for the truth. The room was full, yet I had never felt so abandoned. That was the night the boy inside me finally stopped believing. He finally spoke. We had to think about the future. The future, such an innocent word until someone uses it to justify betrayal. He talked about risks, about growth, about difficult decisions, about sacrifices. Funny, the sacrifice always seemed to be me. I listened without interrupting, because anger would have made me look guilty, and heartbreak has never been convincing evidence. Every sentence felt like another brick on the grave of everything we had built. Years of loyalty reduced to minutes of carefully rehearsed excuses. I realized that people don't always betray you because they hate you. Sometimes they betray you because your absence makes their ambitions easier. And somehow that hurts even more. The night. No one waited. There was a time I believed every road eventually led home. Every goodbye was only borrowing time. Every promise could survive distance, every friend would still recognize my voice. Years later, I carried those beliefs like photographs in my wallet, folded, protected, slowly fading. I didn't know some things disappear long before you notice they're gone. The train stopped in a town that still remembered my name. At least, that's what I hoped. The station looked smaller, the walls wore new paint. The old newspaper stand had become a coffee shop. The man who used to wave every morning was no longer there. Nobody told me the world keeps replacing people. You only notice when you come back looking for ghosts. I walk the familiar streets like a stranger, borrowing someone else's memories. Every corner whisper, you've been gone too long. The bakery still filled the air with warm bread before sunrise. Children still chased each other past the church steps. Old men still argued about football outside the same little store. Life had learned how to continue without asking where I'd gone. That realization didn't break me, it emptied me. I stopped outside the house where I grew into a man. The gate complained with the same tired sound. The mango tree was taller, the paint was peeling. Time had touched everything, even silence. I stood there for several minutes, not because I was afraid to knock, because part of me believed the boy you left might answer the door instead. Only memories did. I remember muddy shoes left on the porch, arguments over dinner, my mother's voice calling everyone inside before the rain began. My father's quiet laughter after pretending he wasn't proud of me back then. Everything important fit inside those walls now. I wasn't sure if I still did. Home never disappears, it simply becomes a place that remembers a different version of you. No one waited, not because they stopped loving me, because life never promised it would pause. The chairs were still around the table, the lights still filled the windows, the morning still came without permission. Only I had arrived too late to the life I thought would always be waiting. Old friends recognized me, eventually they smiled, shook my hand, asked questions people ask when years become too heavy to summarize. How have you been? Still working? You look different. Such a harmless word until it describes someone who no longer recognizes himself. We laughed, remembered school, mentioned names of people who had moved away, others who never got the chance. The conversation stayed safely on the surface. Nobody asked about the nights I almost gave up. Nobody asked how betrayal changes the sound of your own heartbeat. Some questions remain buried out of kindness, others out of fear. I used to believe pain arrived like a storm, sudden, violent, impossible to ignore. Now I know the deepest pain moves quietly. It sits beside you while you drink your coffee, walks next to you without speaking, sleeps at the edge of your bed until one ordinary afternoon you realize it never left. That evening, I walked to the hill where we once swore we changed the world. The city lights flickered below like distant memories. I remembered the promises we made. We'll always have each other's backs. We'll come home successful. We'll never become like the men we hated. Youth has a beautiful way of believing words alone can defeat time. I closed my eyes, the wind carried voices that no longer existed. For one impossible moment, I could almost hear us laughing again. Then the silence returned and I understood. The hardest part of growing older isn't losing people, it's meeting places that still remember who you used to be when you no longer can. There was a road that stretched beyond the hills, one I had traced with my eyes since I was a boy. Everyone said the world was waiting, that courage belonged to the ones who stepped forward. So I packed my dreams before I packed my clothes, left a note that promised I'd return, and closed the front door without knowing some doors only close once. The morning air carried hope like a prayer, The sky looked too wide to be afraid. Back then, I still believed every handshake meant honesty. Every promise had a heartbeat, and every goodbye was only temporary. I had no reason not to. My mother cried without making a sound, smiling so I wouldn't stay for her. My father placed his weathered hand upon my shoulder, not to stop me, but to remind me where I came from. Whatever you become, his eyes seem to say, don't lose the man you are. I nodded like every young man does, thinking character could never be stolen, thinking goodness was something no one could touch, thinking the world fought fair. If only I had known. The streets beyond my hometown didn't care about innocence. They measure worth in victories, not kindness. They remember wealth, not sacrifice. They applauded power, not mercy. But I hadn't learned that language yet. I walk with clean shoes, an open heart, and dreams that had never met disappointment. Every stranger looked like tomorrow. Every sunrise felt like permission. I believed I could build a future without breaking pieces of myself. How strange it is, the person you miss the most can become the version of yourself you never get back. I was just the man who left with hope folded neatly in my pocket, a heart too open, a soul too certain, believing tomorrow would reward the honest. I didn't know the road remembers every tear. I didn't know ambition has sharp teeth. I didn't know the price of growing older would be paid with pieces of my heart. I was just a man who left. The city welcomed me with bright lights but no warm hands. Its buildings stood taller than my confidence. Its people moved faster than my thoughts. No one asked where I'd come from. No one cared what I'd survived out there. You introduced yourself with success, not just story. I worked until my hands forgot comfort. I smiled through exhaustion. I swallowed pride when dignity couldn't pay the bills. Every night I'd stare through rain-soaked windows, wondering if home still smelled the same, if my room was untouched, if my mother still waited near the gate whenever footsteps echoed outside. I promised myself it would only be for a little while, just long enough to become someone worth returning as. The funny thing about distance isn't how far it takes you, it's how quietly it changes you. One difficult day becomes another, one compromise becomes a habit, one lie becomes survival. You hardly notice until the mirror introduces you to someone you've never met. I still carried kindness like it was armor. I helped strangers who forgot my name, trusted men who smiled too easily, believed loyalty could be earned by giving more than I received. Thought the world rewarded good hearts, instead it tested them. Every lesson arrived wearing a friendly face. Every warning sounded like advice. Every opportunity hit a cost no one mentioned beforehand. Yet I kept walking because hope is stubborn. It survives storms long after reason has packed its bags. If someone had stopped me that first morning and whispered, the man who returns will not resemble the boy who leaves, I wonder, would I have turned around? Would I have smiled anyway, believing it could never happen to me?
I learned to speak in silence. There comes a day when you stop asking, why did they do it? Not because you found the answer, because the question no longer changes anything. The names remain, the memories remain, the scars remain, only the pain learns a different language. I used to explain myself. Now, silence speaks better than I ever could. The morning still arrived. The sun still climbed above the same tired buildings. People still hurried toward lives they believed would last forever. Nothing about the world looked different, yet somehow everything was. I stopped chasing explanations, stopped defending my intentions, stopped trying to convince people that my heart had always been honest. The truth doesn't become stronger because you repeat it. Those who know already know. Those who don't never plan to believe you. I folded every disappointment into a quiet place inside my chest, not to forget it, to carry it without letting it carry me. Every betrayal became another brick, every lie another layer of stone, every goodbye another reason to stop expecting anyone to stay forever. They thought silence meant weakness. They never realized it was where I rebuilt myself. I learned to speak in silence, to answer disrespect with distance, to answer lies with absence, to answer betrayal by refusing to become another traitor. The loudest man rarely wins. Sometimes the quiet one leaves the deepest echo. I no longer entered rooms looking for approval. I entered them knowing exactly who I was. Not because life had been kind, cause it hadn't. Every scar introduced itself before I did. Every sleepless night had taught me another lesson no classroom ever could. Trust slowly, observe carefully, speak less, remember everything. People notice the change. You've become cold. No, cold is effortless. This took years. It took broken promises, empty chairs, forgotten birthdays, conversations that ended friendships, and one betrayal that divided my life into before and after. There are two kinds of silence. The silence of someone who has nothing to say, and the silence of someone who has finally understood. Not everyone deserves to hear what's inside his heart. I became the second man. One afternoon I crossed paths with someone who once knew me. He smiled, asked where I'd been, said, "You've changed." I smiled back, not because I agreed, because explaining would have taken years. How do you describe the weight of betrayal to someone who has never carried it? How do you explain that some wounds never stop bleeding? They simply learn to bleed quietly. So I wished him well, shook his hand, walked away. Not every story needs another chapter. I stopped measuring wealth by numbers, started measuring it by peace. The ability to sleep through the night, to eat without regret, to look in the mirror without turning away. That became success. Not applause, not recognition, not the approval of people who disappeared when the storm arrived.
God visited the old places.
One last time, the cafe,
The station,
the hill, where we once promised to conquer the world. Everything looked smaller,
not because the town had changed,
because pain has a way of making yesterday feel distant.
I stood there
Until sunset,
listening,
not for voices, for forgiveness, none came. Only the wind, and somehow that was enough.
I learned to speak in silence,
To let my actions finish conversations my words never could.
To leave rooms without slamming doors.
To forgive without forgetting.
To remember
without becoming bitter.
They took my trust, they took my innocence. They took the man
who believed everyone deserved another chance. But they couldn't take the man I chose to become. If you ever see me again, don't mistake my quietness for emptiness. There are wars still living behind these eyes. There are names I no longer speak. There are promises I buried with my younger self. And if I seem harder to know, it's only because the loudest lesson life ever taught me was spoken in complete silence. You never hear trust break. There's no thunder, no shattered glass. Just one conversation that feels different. One smile that lasts a little too long. One silence that suddenly becomes louder than every word before it. Looking back, I realized betrayal always knocks softly. I was simply too busy calling it friendship. We built everything together. Late nights, empty pockets, coffee gone cold before sunrise. We dreamed like brothers. We spoke about houses we'd one day own. Names we'd make impossible to ignore. Families we'd protect. Children who would never know what it meant to struggle back then. Success felt like something we would share, not something we would fight over. If one of us won, we all celebrated. At least that's what I believe. Funny how people applaud you climb until you start reaching heights they secretly wanted for themselves. Trust has an expiry date. No one tells you when it ends. It simply disappears the moment ambition becomes louder than loyalty. The hands that once pulled you forward begin quietly pushing you behind. And by the time you notice, you're already standing alone. He still call me brother, still laughed at my jokes, still pour my drink before his own. Nothing changed except everything. The conversations became shorter, the eye contact disappeared. Decisions were made before I entered the room. My name slowly vanished from discussions I held begin. At first I blamed stress and bad timing, then myself. Anything except the truth, because the truth would have meant admitting the man I trusted most had already started walking away. There is a moment, just one, when your heart knows long before your mind accepts it. That feeling in your chest, that quiet voice whispering something isn't right. Ignore it long enough and it becomes your greatest regret. One evening, the room fell silent as I walked through the door. Not because they respected me, because they had already finished speaking about me. Smiles returned too quickly, glasses were raised. Someone changed the subject, another avoided my eyes. The air felt heavier than any words they could have spoken. I sat among familiar faces, yet I'd never felt more alone. That's when I understood. Sometimes betrayal doesn't begin with a knife. It begins with a conversation you were never meant to hear. The first time
it almost destroyed me. The betrayal, the silence, the nights that refused to end. But life has a strange way of teaching you. The same wound can never break the same man twice. I still remember standing in the ruins, holding pieces of a life I couldn't save. I kept asking heaven for a reason, while digging hope into an empty grave. I blamed myself for every ending, counted every fault as if they were mine. I searched for answers in the darkness, until I realized healing needed time. The man I was kept looking backward, trying to rewrite yesterday. The man I am keeps moving forward, knowing some things fade for a reason. Pain introduced itself like an enemy, but it stayed long enough to become my greatest teacher. Nothing could break me twice, not the lies, not the goodbye, not the people who only love me when I made life easy. I've already survived the worst version of myself. What else is there to fear? Nothing could break me twice, because the man who once shattered no longer exists. I no longer chase what keeps running, no longer argue with closed minds. Some battles steal your peace long before they steal your time. I've buried expectations quietly, stop demanding fairness from the world. Life owes no explanations, only opportunities to rise again. The mirror tells a different story now, not a perfection, but endurance, not a comfort, but courage. You become dangerous the moment you stop fearing the things that once destroyed you. Nothing could break me twice. I've already watched my world collapse. I've already rebuilt with bleeding hands. I've already walked through nights that never seem to end. If I survive that, I'll survive this too. Go ahead, doubt me, leave me, forget my name. I've learned that people can take many things: time, money, love, trust, but they cannot take the strength I earned the hard way. That belongs to me forever. These scars no longer ache the same. They become reminders, not prisons. The memories still visit, but they no longer unpack the bags. I greet them, learn from them, then send them on their way, because my future deserves more attention than my past. Nothing could break me twice, because every storm that tried to destroy me ended up building a stronger man. I used to ask, why did this happen to me? Now I ask, what did it teach me? And that's the difference between the man who almost gave up and the man who refuses to break again. The ghost I
became. If somehow the boy I used to be could stand in front of me tonight, he wouldn't ask how much money I made. He wouldn't ask whether I finally won. He'd only ask one question: what happened to us? I don't know if I'd have the courage to answer. You remember the nights when we believed the stars belonged to everyone, when a promise was stronger than paper, when we thought a brother would never become a stranger. You carry dreams like they were light, I carry memories like they're chains. You smiled without thinking, I think before I smile. Somewhere between the first goodbye and the last betrayal, you disappeared, and I kept living. People say time changes a man, they're wrong. People do. I'm just a ghost of who we were, walking through rooms that no longer know my name. Breathing, but never really arriving. Laughing without feeling the joke. Living without recognizing the life. Tell me, would you still be proud of me? Or would you mourn the man I've become? I found your old photograph folded inside a forgotten book. You looked fearless, not because life was easy, because your heart had never been broken by someone you would have died for. I envied you, imagine that, a grown man, jealous of the boy you used to be. You still believed every ending had another beginning. I know now, some endings only leave echoes. The funny thing about ghosts is that nobody notices when they first appear. They simply keep showing up, every mirror, every empty chair, every familiar street, until one day you realize the ghost has been you all along. If I could write one letter to the version of me who packed his suitcase, I'd only write one sentence: stay. Not because the world isn't beautiful, because some journeys take more than they ever give back. Do you remember how loudly we laughed? Neither do I. I remember business meetings, hospital corridors, rain against windows, conversations where everyone smiled before someone lied. I remember the sound of doors closing, the silence after betrayal, the weight of pretending everything was fine. Funny, I remember pain more clearly than happiness. I'm the ghost you never imagined, becoming the man who learned to survive by hiding pieces of his own heart. I still wear your dreams, they just don't fit anymore. I still carry your hope, it's simply too heavy, no. And if we ever meet again, don't be afraid of the silence. Listen closely, you'll hear what's left of the boy who believed the world could never break him. The saddest part was never that they betrayed me. It was this: they left behind a stranger who still answers to my name.
The night they chose against me. No one tells you the loudest betrayal happens in a quiet room. No shouting, No broken glass, no warning. Just a decision made while your name isn't there to defend itself. By the time the truth reaches you, it has already become history. I remember the rain, not because it was heavy, but because it covered the sound of my footsteps as I walked toward the place we once called ours. The lights were still on, cars lined the street, laughter escaped through half-open windows. Everything looked ordinary, everything except the feeling in my chest. There are moments when your soul notices danger before your eyes ever do. That night, mine begged me to turn around. I didn't, because hope has a terrible habit of believing it still belongs. I reached for the door, it wasn't locked, it never needed to be. The people inside had already locked me out in every way that mattered. Their voices stopped the second I entered. Silence has a way of introducing itself better than words ever could. Faces turn, some look surprised, some look guilty. One or two couldn't even meet my eyes. And then he smiled, not the smile of a brother, not the smile of a friend, the smile of a man who already knew he had won. He had won. You're early, that's all he said, as if time was the only thing out of place. I looked around the table, papers, contracts, my handwriting, my ideas, plans we had built together, now sitting in front of everyone except me. No one rushed to explain, no one stood up, no one said, "This isn't what it looks like." Because sometimes it is exactly what it looks like. Someone cleared his throat, another stared into his glass. The room suddenly became interested in anything except the truth. I waited, not for answers, for someone, anyone, to remember who I had been to them. The man who stayed late after everyone else had gone home. The man who carried losses that belonged to all of us. The man who believed brotherhood meant something instead. Silence voted against me. I always thought betrayal would come wearing the face of an enemy. I never imagined it would borrow the voice of a friend. That was the night they chose against me. Not with bullets, not with blood, but with signatures, with silence, with eyes that looked away when mine searched for the truth. The room was full, yet I had never felt so abandoned. That was the night the boy inside me finally stopped believing. He finally spoke. We had to think about the future. The future, such an innocent word until someone uses it to justify betrayal. He talked about risks, about growth, about difficult decisions, about sacrifices. Funny, the sacrifice always seemed to be me. I listened without interrupting because anger would have made me look guilty, and heartbreak has never been convincing evidence. Every sentence felt like another brick on the grave of everything we had built. Years of loyalty reduced to minutes of carefully rehearsed excuses. I realized that people don't always betray you because they hate you. Sometimes they betray you because your absence makes their ambitions easier. And somehow that hurts even more. The night